Hello everyone. So let's talk about the pencils that I use for my sketching purposes. I use Staedtler's Mars Lumograph pencils. The blue colored one, there are pencils that are like black colored. I find these better. So I have the basic set, like 6 pencils, which has shades from HB to 8B, and this is more than enough for all your sketching purposes. We have many other brands in India which are locally available, from Apsara to Camel to Artline. I have tried all those pencils, but this is definitely one of the best pencils I have used so far. Alright, and I generally sharp my pencils like that with a long tip. Okay, this helps me draw and sketch in a better way. Okay, how I hold my pencil for sketching is also something very important. I hold my pencil slightly higher than the tip. Okay, so and also the way I hold my pencil, if I hold my pencil like this, that means I am looking at doing details. Okay, this means I'm going to do details. Okay, and for sketching I generally hold my pencil like that, because that gives me more liberty and freedom to move my hands. It's always advised that you use your entire arm for sketching and not just your wrist or your fingers for sketching, because see, if I use just this much, see, my area that I can cover is quite limited. Okay, so this is a very common thing that people do. So people just are able to use their wrist and when they're sketching. So it's always nice if you could hold your pencil like this and then do your sketching. See, it also ensures that I draw lightly and I have a very good control over my pencil like that. Okay, and you would have seen a lot of artists and masters holding their brushes also this way. They are holding the brush like really far from the from the tip. Okay, so because that gives them a lot of freedom to move their brush around the canvases. This is so helpful when you're doing like big large paintings. You cannot work like this. Okay, you have to use your entire arm to sketch, right, when you're working on like big canvases and all. So it's always better to practice the same way even when you're doing on your sketchbook. Okay, so H denotes the hardness of a pencil and B means the blackness of the pencil. Okay, how black the pencil is. So if we move from H to say 2H, 3H, like that, if we move this side, so my pencil will become harder as well as lighter. So if I add B to that, my pencil will become slightly darker than the H. Okay, because we've added more black to that. Okay, so this becomes darker. So as we move this side to 2B, say 4B, 6B, 8B, like that, so my pencil will become darker and darker and darker. Not just darker, I've also felt that the pencil becomes smoother as well as the number moves. So let me just show you this. I don't use pencils that are marked H because I find that these are very hard for sketching and not really recommended for sketching. It doesn't work for me. I think for geometrical drawings or maybe for mechanical drawings and all, they use H or 2H kind of pencils, but for normal sketching and all, we generally don't recommend pencils that are marked H. Okay, so this is a pencil which is HB. Okay, so let's draw these blocks and see the difference in the pencil. So this is HB that I have, and I'm going to color this block. With HB. Then I'm going to use my 2B. Sorry, this is my 2B. See, I'm not putting any pressure on the pencil. I'll just zoom that up for you. Then we have 4B with me. See, it is the same pressure that I'm applying on the pencil, and see, darker, right? Then we have, okay, this is actually 7B. Okay, wait, it's 4B. Then I have my 6B. My pencil has also become very smooth. If I compare it with this, it has actually become quite smooth. Then I have my 8B. And see how dark is this. We do get 10Bs and all. See how dark this is. I sometimes feel that this is as good as charcoal pencils. Okay, yeah, so that's how. So you may argue that why can't we use the same pencil and make it, put more pressure on the pencil and get a darker color with that. But there is a certain limitation to how dark you can get with the same pencil. This is the darkest that I can get with my HB. Now this is the darkest. I'm applying a lot of pressure here now. Now this is the darkest that I can go with my 2B. So if you put if you want to go even more darker than this, what will happen that my pencil will not produce darker color, rather it will start shining. I'm not sure if it is, see, my pencil starts shining. Okay, so instead of producing the darkest color, it kind of starts shining. So it's not recommended to use the same pencil for darker colors, for darker areas. Okay, this is 4B. So there is, see how dark it is. But then I can't put too many layers on that. Then it'll again start shining. And the last, this is the best. It's almost like a charcoal pencil. See? Yeah. And this generally doesn't shine. So for all my drawings and for all my sketchings, I'm going to hold my pencil slightly higher than the tip. Okay, and if I hold my pencils like this and I draw, then it tends to get darker. The nearer I go to the tip, I tend to draw darker because I put more pressure on the pencil. So if you're holding your pencil here, see, if I'm holding my pencil here, okay, then I would not be able to put more pressure, okay, on the pencils, and I will be able to draw lighter. Also, this gives me a lot of freedom to move my pencils, okay. I'm not just restricted to my wrist, or or the hand or fingers. I'm using my entire arm to sketch, okay. So let's do some warm up. I'm drawing some parallel lines. You can take a newspaper if you want to do this exercise to see how long and neat you can draw the lines. You can do some slanting lines, and then holding your pencil like this and keeping the tip on the sketchbook, I'm going to draw my vertical lines. Okay, for this I'm holding it near the tip. Okay, wait. So like that. Okay. You can draw your vertical lines like that. Alright. Then let's do some freehand circles and ovals, okay? So for that, just keep rotating your arm in circular motion and then drop your circle. Okay. Like that, and then you can also try the ovals. Oops, sorry. So yeah, slowly it'll all fall into place. Rest is to draw a circle and then draw some ovals inside that circle. Okay. So maybe an oval here, okay, here, like that. So let's say I'm drawing a circle. So try doing some ovals inside this. Try to draw the oval slightly faster. Alright, so that's one of the warm-up exercises that you can do before you start your sketching. So I'm making a grid. Let's try and create different shades with the same pencil. That's one of the first steps. Okay. I'm trying to divide this into equal grids. And let's create some shades with it. So the first grid is going to be very, very light. My first grid is going to be like very, very light. So I'm going to hold my pencil really high and shade it. My second one will be slightly darker than my first one. My third one will be slightly darker than my, so slightly more darker. Wait, this is not correct. My third one, I'm going to still hold my pencil. I'm using a 4B for this. You can use 2B also for this. Let me go slightly more darker. See, they all start looking the same, but what you have to do is you have to compare two blocks next to each other. Okay, like that. This is darker than this. This is darker than this. Then you're going fine. So this way we'll keep going darker and darker. So what am I doing is I'm putting just little more pressure on the pencil, just little more pressure on the pencil, and I'm moving. This is a very important exercise for sketching. Okay. Now I need more shades which are darker. So see, it's not possible to keep holding the pencil here and get darker shades. So I am going to slowly move near the tip. Yes. So that way you'll have to keep going. Don't change the pencil for darker colors. Okay, so that way your value, your tone, keeps changing. See, there's a slow gradation. So that means you have to do this entire line or maybe more. The more the better. Okay, we have done up to like say 40-50 shades also. All right, so the last shade being, let's say you've done one row like that, so your last few shades are going to be like really, really dark. Okay, let's do here. Okay, like that. And then very, very dark. Like that. Okay. So yeah, so you'll have to slowly move darker and reach to this point. Okay. Now you are going to try the same thing, but with strokes. Now the same exercise we're going to do without the grids, and freehand like that. Okay, so I'm going to hold my pencil really high and get that light tone. Okay, and then I'm going to slowly make it darker. I'm going to come nearer because I want to go more dark. The moment I reach near the tip, see it's automatically becoming darker. And see, my strokes also cannot go longer because I'm holding it near. Okay, when I held my pencil here, I could go longer, right? So that's why for drawing it's good to draw, hold your pencil always. See, and I have to go very near to the tip to be able to do that darker color. So you may want to try that as well. Okay, now let's draw some shapes. We did the freehand ovals and circles, right? So circles and ovals are the most important thing that I feel in drawings. So let's start with some shapes. Let's do some circles. So I'm drawing a line. I'm going to divide it at the center, and then I'm going to put a line at the top. I'm going to draw a vertical line. Now this line should be equal to this one. Okay, and then I'm going to draw, my circle is going to touch these points. Okay, and then when you're joining, don't join from inside, but try to go from outside like that. Okay, and when drawing, try drawing with strokes and not drawing directly. Okay, stroke by stroke you go and then you connect it. Alright, and try connecting these points well. Okay, it should not come like that. It has to all fall in that circle. So another way that you can try is use any stationary items that you have that you use for sketching. Okay, so another way to draw circle is to take help of the little stationaries that you have with you when you're drawing. Okay, say for example, I'm going to use the eraser for drawing that circle. So I have a line here. That helps you with getting the perfect circle. Alright, so I'm going to put a dot just like that, and I'm going to keep my eraser on that point. So instead of using a scale, I'm using this because generally we don't use scale in sketching. Scales are not really allowed in sketching, so this is the little cheating that we do with whatever things that we have. We try to measure it with that. So now I have 4 equal lines from that center point. Okay, so we can connect these, right? So that will give me the perfect circle. And then I'm going to connect it all together. And try to draw using strokes. And try connecting all these lines together, all these points together. And get your perfect circle. So let's do some ovals. So this is the circle that I have. In circles, all the sides were equal from the center, but in oval, 2 sides are equal and the other 2 sides are also equal but slightly smaller. Okay, so then I'm going to connect it like this. So it's going to be narrow here, and then slowly it'll be the distance from the center will be highest here, and then again it will come down and join here. And then you join it from here. The ends should not be sharp, okay, and it has to be narrow from here, and then it has to connect this side. See, it has to be narrow here and then wide at the center. So that's how you're going to draw your ovals. Okay, you can draw bigger ovals, smaller ovals. So your exercise is to create a lot of circles and ovals. Let's do some more shapes. Let's do some 3D shapes like cylinder and cone.